All right, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
The
Yeah.
hot seat. All right,
Yeah.
so I'm doing a series called Unlock the Combo. We're going to talk to agents, we're going to talk to broker owners, we're going to talk to, because I manage some franchise owners as well, right, that they have their own franchise. But I want to tap into what's going on in here. Right?
Okay.
What's happening behind the scenes with you? How do you manage everything? Share with our audience, share with the other agents that are not necessarily with Realty ONE Group.
Okay.
But hey, you're a very giving person. I've known you for so many years now. You've been with our brokerage. You've been at other brokerages before.
Yes.
But something keeps you here, so we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Absolutely.
But tell our audience about you a little bit. Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
Absolutely. So I am first generation. My family, my parents actually arrived to the U.S. from Mexico as newlyweds. I was born and raised here in the East Bay. I'm a mother of 3 kids. So I juggle it all, right? So, we do real estate.
Where did you grow up though? Here in the East Bay?
Yes, here in the East Bay. Yeah.
This
I've
has been
stayed.
home.
All my family's here. Come from a large family. But I really love real estate. I got into it about 15 years ago, and you're probably asking, what's kept me here in the office?
Well, I mean, what's kept you in real estate? Let's ask.
Honestly, for me, it's been life-changing for me. So obviously my parents as immigrants arrived here. They both, held multiple jobs. I was always with babysitters. And I knew that when I wanted to start my family, it had to be something that would, provide financial stability. But at the same time, I wanted to raise my kids.
Got it.
So for me, I've been able to juggle it all. I've been able to, raise my kids, to go volunteer in school, be financially stable. But in particular, what I love about Realty ONE Group is honestly the family culture. The fact that, the structure, I'm able to invest in my own retirement. I'm able to invest back into my business. It's beautiful. I mean, I love it. I love everybody that I work with and the opportunities that we are provided.
Good. No, I'm happy to hear that because you've been very vocal, I think, and you're not one to be shy, and you'll be saying, hey, this is what, I need help with this or I need help with that. But I think your clients come to you, and what I've seen is that you're a solutions person, right? You solve their problems, you help them out, you guide them through. And there's some tough, challenging
guys.
situations, right?
Honestly, I work with the majority of my clients are first-time home buyers, young professionals, people that want to achieve the dream of home ownership and have no idea where to start. So for me, I really pride myself in not necessarily working or representing people that have all of this financial knowledge, that have all of this money, but working with low down payment programs, 3% down, 5% down. And for me, I really pride myself in making a difference, especially with my community where people get taken advantage of, unfortunately. They don't know what questions to ask. They're not that savvy sometimes, and they are relying 100% on you to be honest and make this dream a reality. So I start off with people that say, you know what, first generation, maybe their parents have never owned a home before. I have no idea where to start. And I always tell them, their first home is a stepping stone.
So the financial literacy is really
Absolutely. And really making sure from beginning to end that they are taken care of. So I always tell them, I do get involved on the loan side, and only because they ask me a lot of questions. Of course. You understand buying a home is a very overwhelming process, but I want to make sure that they're taken care of. And I've come across situations where they'll encounter other agents and say, hey, if you want the house, you need to put the offer through me, and they won't leave. They're extremely loyal. And I have represented, them on multiple properties along with multiple family members. So that's something that I'm very proud of.
Okay, so and that I got to see as your broker, right?
Yeah.
Where you might help someone out, and then the next thing they're referring you someone, and they're referring you a family member, and this and that. So it always ends up being one deal turns into 6.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
exactly. And that's the thing. So other thing is, your husband has joined you now.
Yes.
Right? And Ricardo, shout out to Ricardo, of course.
Of course, I couldn't do all of this without him. We're a team.
And you guys both have that entrepreneurial spirit, but how is it where, you have home life and then you have work life? So, and I understand you do some deals on your own, he does some deals on his own, but that balance. So share with us a little bit of the behind the scenes. If you don't mind, I'm gonna
No,
get a little bit
absolutely.
personal here, but how do you guys juggle that? Because some people will want to choke each other by the end of the day, right? If they're
we get this question all the time, and I honestly believe it's, when we say, teamwork makes the dream work, it really is that.
Okay.
If I need help with the kids because I have appointments all day, then he'll take it on and he'll work from home and vice versa.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, it's the bigger goal, which is being able to be together as a family, because for 10 years, Ricardo did work outside of real estate, and I was almost like a single parent.
Sure.
And so now that he's here, we're in it for the bigger picture, which is being together, being able to provide amazing experiences. But honestly, it's this great brokerage, the great support that we have here that we're able to go on vacation and still be able to be productive.
Yeah, because that's one of those economic challenges for a lot of agents, right? Is that because everyone is an independent contractor, they're self-employed. Literally, we're peers, we're working together, right? I'm your support system, but at the end of the day, it's time management, it's juggling, it's all of that, and some people just get overwhelmed. And you've demonstrated year after year after year after year, the priority is family time. The priority is, extended family, right? So it's not just, I'm balancing 2 kids, 3 kids. I'm actually doing more than that, right? Yes. Your eldest is older, right? He's like in his 20s.
He's 22. Right. Bella is in middle school now, and Adrian will be 10 years old. So it's a lot of different challenges, but I think at the end of the day, it's really about, yes, my family for me is utmost importance. But I think definitely is being consistent with my efforts. I've definitely learned early on in my career, that what I don't do today will be reflected 30 days from now. And if you're an agent or thinking of becoming an agent, we are 100% commission. So, it's kind of like, when they say feast or famine, it's like, yes, that's great that I'm closing a deal now, but I have to think of my next 5.
Sure.
Where is that? And just to be consistent. Honestly, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, that's your business. So you found a way to operate your home life, your business life, be there, not get burnt out, right? So I assume if, for me, and then, one thing that we haven't shared with our audience yet, and some already know, and of course, is that you were the top producer company-wide, and be able to handle everything. So most units sold. So congratulations from last year, right? This year we're gonna see. But hey, you're a winner, right? And I think you're welcome. And then the other thing too, which we need to highlight, is that you speak Spanish, of course, fluently. Yes. Right. So say something to your Spanish audience here, Spanish-speaking audience here, to welcome them. Sí se puede todo día. That's my line. Sí se puede, right?
We had a lunch at my house, and we had a hibachi chef, and he's saying that he just got his residency card, and of course we're super excited, right? He hadn't seen his mom in 12 years, and he said, I have a job. This is my side hustle. And I said, hey, if you're ever thinking about, he says, I didn't realize I could. So for me,
really?
Yes.
That he couldn't buy real
He
estate?
didn't think he could, and they think that you need $100,000-$200,000, and I just let him know, hey, I work with a lot of people, with minimum down payments, and I'd be more than happy, and we've already been in contact, and so I think for me, it's really sharing that it could be possible, and I think sometimes many people get overwhelmed with not knowing where to start.
All right. So that being said, for me, I think it's really important that, and you're bringing this to my frame of mind, because I'm thinking by now the majority of folks would know that, but I guess they don't, or they don't have those kind of folks resources in their periphery that they're like, oh, okay, this is how to do it. So educating the folks, especially as first-time home buyers and things like that. And I've seen you handhold a lot of clients, right? And in terms of dealing with a aggressive agent on the other side of the deal, you've gone through that too.
Many times.
Challenges and things like that. So what have you set your mindset? What is your expectation that when you go into a deal, help us out here, because we want to help these other agents that are out there. How do you set your expectation that, hey, this deal is going to go great, no issues? What are you thinking in terms of that as you're entering a deal? Or do you prep yourself and say, look, you know what? there's going to be some hiccups. So how do you prepare yourself for that?
Honestly, I always go into it, with the best intention and always doing my due diligence to prepare my client, prepare the lender, and make sure, of course, things are going to come up. But I strongly believe I am a team player, and so I do relate that to the other agent, that it's really in both of our best interests to work together and not against each other in order to get everyone to the finish line.
And I've actually used that as an example that, hey, the finish line is the same. It's basically a three-legged race. You're just going, right? Because you had the buyer and the seller. And sometimes, when you're clashing like this and you're just going back and forth, and it just becomes a really just difficult transaction just because of the personalities.
Right.
And luckily in real estate, most transactions close within 30 days. So even if it's hellish, you can get there. But I've never really heard you say anything to the effect that I'm never going to work with this agent again. I'm never going to do this. I've never heard you complain about that. Yes, there's been challenging agents on another side of the transaction, and you represent sellers, you represented buyers, so you've done both sides. But I've never actually had you complain and say, you know what, I'm never, you never make those kind of statements. Is that because you understand that, hey, you're going to see that agent on the other side of a deal?
Absolutely.
In the near future kind of thing?
You have to be humble in this business. You could be on the listing side representing the seller and having the upper hand, and the next time around, you're the buyer's agent. And so I make it a point to, at the end of a transaction, constantly let the other agent know that I appreciate their hard work, and I will pick up the phone to call them and thank them for the opportunity at the end of a transaction. Nice. It takes me 30 seconds. I think it does make an impact, and they will certainly remember you with the next batch of multiple offers or vice versa. Right. And I feel that I don't see that. I rarely get a thank you or, thanks for giving me a shot or anything. And at the end of the day, things are going to happen. Sure. But I think it's the way that you work, either you work together or you work against each other. And that really defines the experience. I've been on one end where I remember how the lack of communication, and at the end of the day, as agents, we know things are going to happen. Right. But is that other agent communicating with you? Are they being considerate of your client as well? And I feel that I lose nothing by saying, hey, I'm sorry that we came across this, but I am in constant communication. I strongly believe in communicating with the other agent first before them having to try to track me down and find out what's going on.
So you're not hiding. You're going to go, you're going to address however ugly the situation is, you're still going to address it. Okay. So, all right, we have the same MLS, we have the same phones, we have the same forms, right? All agents. So what gets you to be a high achiever? Is this Abril Manzo, all your life you've been overachiever or a high achiever, or what drives you? Is it spiritual? Is it just the whole aspect of, hey, I'm gonna, for instance, I'm gonna sacrifice everything I have for the betterment of the kids, but you balance it so well. Thank God, I'm gonna say a shout out to God right here, right?
Yes.
So help us understand that, Abril, because for me as your broker, right? I deal with agents that have issues, they have chronic issues, and sometimes it's just like, okay, hey, is this a mindset thing? So I want to have us peek into your brain and say,
absolutely.
What is it?
For me, it's definitely mindset. Okay, I'm a strong believer, and of course, we all come through and obstacles, and something's always going to come up. But for me, I have learned to focus on the solution instead of the problem. If I focus on the problem, I'm just going to see more problems that will trickle along with it. Right. And for me, I'm very solution oriented. Okay. In terms of the balance, this business is extremely stressful. I mean, you are hired to literally solve everybody's issues, and you have to handle everybody's emotions as well.
I mean, we're therapists at the end of the day, right?
You absolutely are. And then, of course,
therapists and whatever else.
Yeah, and I have a home life. Yeah. For me, my kids are very important, but I feel that I have learned to balance, especially last year during a pandemic. I'm also a teacher. So the last 2 years, I had to tell the teachers, hey, I'm taking my kids along for the ride because I have inspections. I have this, I have that. Right. But honestly, just being solution-oriented and really being able to balance out, because I think especially in this business, it's definitely feast or famine. If you let your emotions get in the way, you're not going to be productive, and that will relate to your income a couple months down the road,
for sure.
and that becomes stressful. And when you're so stressed, it's like you can't produce the same.
No, exactly. And it takes your eye off the ball. What do you, so let's dig a little bit deeper. What do you turn to keep that mindset right?
You know, honestly,
If you don't mind sharing.
No, absolutely. For me, I think it's my home life is very important, and I know in order to have the peace of mind, I need to be productive. And like sometimes I only have 3 to 5 hours to be productive during the day because I have kids and I do the pickups, the drop-offs, and everything in between.
I'll call Ricardo and be like, Ricardo, bro, help her out a little bit, right?
No, and we both work as a team, but I definitely think it's the focus. It's having a goal in mind. I have a big whiteboard in my home office, and it's right there, you know? And so for me, it just depends. You know, I have a client and I have, you know, a goal to get them in a contract within a certain amount of time. Sure. But I think dealing with their emotions, dealing with the deception sometimes and multiple offers, and literally pushing them not to give up. Right. You know, it's a lot, but at the same time, you're done.
Yeah. So,
you know.
No, I get it, but let me ask you this, and again, I'm just getting personal with you. Do you turn to your faith? Do you turn to other things? Are you on motivational apps? Because for me, I have a motivation app. Actually, I did the settings for like 6 times a day. I'm getting a little text message. Because you got to feed your mind, right?
Absolutely.
So how are you feeding your mind from?
For me, of course, I'm nothing without God. And I always tell him and I thank him and I turn to him because it doesn't matter everything that I try. Like he really comes first, and he's definitely gotten me through the toughest times in my life, in the business and, you know, in your personal life. Right. Absolutely.
Everyone's going through something.
Everyone. But I also say, you know, it's like I have to do my part, and that is to stay focused and to stay definitely determined and persevere. You know?
So, and that's the important part, you know, I think for our audience, you know, that has to understand that, hey, it's not just, because, you know, we've had it at our office too, right? We're going to show you how to be a better marketing person. We're going to show you how to be this and this and that. And those are all great. But if your head isn't in the right mindset.
No, and I'll be very honest with you. Yeah, now that you're bringing that up, it's whatever's going to work for you.
Go ahead, beat me up.
It's whatever's going to work for you, honestly, because I feel like you guys provide every tool in the book and all these things, but you need to see what it is that you gravitate to, that you can be consistent with your efforts. Yes. Right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, you hit the nail on the head from that, because some people, there's no one answer to what's going to work, right? It's going to be, but you have to do something, right? You have to be, there is prospecting, there is that aspect of it, whether that's in a social environment that you're able to, you know, extract business through social events, or the traditional, you know, some people still do door knocking, some people will still do, you know, the flyers and postcards and mailers and this and that. So it's got to be, but I think we're in agreement that you got to do something, but just find your.
So for me, I feel that the way, and it's been 15 years, and I'm, you know, to be quite honest, I don't have a CMA where I'm constantly, you know, I do have a magazine that goes out every 2 months. Right. But I think that I'm very, my clients always know it doesn't matter what the question is. Years later, they can always call me and I will pick up the phone, and it doesn't have to be pertaining to their transaction. It could be about anything. Sure. But I'm definitely, I think, or I'd like to think that, you know, that I'm reachable.
You're accessible.
I am definitely accessible. And for me, they always reach out to me for anything. Right. And I think, you know, that's how you nurture relationships. That's how you create the trust even after the fact, because it's not about the commission. I mean, I hate to say, yes, of course, we're in it for the commission, but I've been in many situations where I have the knowledge where I say, this is not the best thing for my client, and I rather lose out on that commission than to put them in the wrong, because sometimes they don't know better, but I do. But you do. And I always say, it always comes back to you, and it's multiplied, but if you do something right for a family, they know.
Okay, so, and that, I mean, that speaks to your integrity, and at the end of the day, the byproduct is the money, right? That we have to live, we've got to pay our bills, we've got to be, Bay Area is expensive, right? Or everywhere is just about expensive these days. So I don't think you know, or we should feel guilty for earning what we earn, but the thing is that you do put the client first. And then the money is a residual. Yeah. All right, we're going to shift gears for a second. Yeah. All right. what music are you listening to these days? What do we hear?
Whatever my kids want.
No, I mean, well, that could change, right? As they went
yeah.
from, my kids were listening to Barney, you know, and all the
Yeah.
other stuff. I was like, okay. And then I actually got them DVDs for, that's a flashback here, because now they're 24 and 22. But they watched Different Strokes. They watched Good Times. They watched
everything.
You know, from back in the day, right? Because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like what's on TV now. Watch what I watched
Yeah.
from the 80s. But what's your
right now? And I don't know if anybody is familiar. We're really into Mexican music, Mexican bands, Grupo Firme. We've seen them a lot of times.
Okay.
But yeah, we're open to anything.
What's this song? Someone sent it to me, and I was looking at Vuela, Vuela. I think I'll have to play it for you. Okay, the only one that I still love to this point was Intocable.
Oh, I love
Intocable is, and when
classic.
I mean, when I hear it, this was back from like 07, and then I used to do this. Radio Única 93.3. You know, so I would like crack people up. They were like, yeah. I was like, and then, you know, my buddies would just be like, what? You know, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm down with it.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, so it was always fun. But I think for you, I'm excited about your success. I'm really happy that you're part of us. You've been such a positive force, you know, for us, and we've recognized you, and hopefully you feel the love from our side.
I definitely do.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool. And
Thank you.
no, we're excited, and we want to continue the relationship, of course, and we want to be supportive. But I'm just glad that at least I know where you are at all times because you post on Facebook all the time. So which is good.
And I love Facebook because a year from now, 2 years from now is where I get my memories. See?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And you highlight your clients, but what I've noticed too, and not everyone, and even for me, I don't share my personal life on Facebook as much, but the thing is that I need to open up because I think people want to get to know you, right? And they want to see you. But the thing is, I think where you have that genuine, you know, because some stuff on Facebook is what fake book, right?
Yeah.
But not for you. I think your genuine kindness and just the love and the family, you can't bullshit that, you know.
Yeah.
I might get bleeped on that, but that's okay. but at the end of the day, it comes through. So I'm excited about your success. I'm excited about everything you do. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how you do it, you know, because. But I think time management is obviously. So what time do you start your day? By the way.
Honestly, before my kids get up, and just kind of depending on whatever we have going on, then, you know, I either get an earlier start or I end up working later at night. But I definitely am always on the phone, so I'm always. You know, I have an awesome transaction coordinator. That's something else that I want to mention. I can't take all the credit.
Sure, you got to have that all done together.
Especially when my kids were younger. I used to only sell a handful of homes a year. Gosh, I remember, you know, not having the help and having to hide in a closet just to sound professional because my kids were knocking it down. But I do have an amazing transaction coordinator. Her name is Trisha. And I've been working with her for about 8 years. And since hiring her, my business tripled. And that's because I focus on the client experience. She chases all the paperwork around. She makes sure that by the time we are ready to close, that I'm going to get paid on time. And she has been a blessing. I appreciate her so much. And I can't say that I've done this alone.
Okay, great.
So,
I mean,
shout out to
Trish. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of people support-wise and whatnot to make sure that the dream gets, you know, fulfilled for your clients.
Well, you know what they say, the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately, and that's not far from the truth. So.
And every day you're hustling, right?
Yes.
So Abril, thank you so much. It's always great to chat with you. You got my cell. You know where to reach me at any time. And just appreciate you making the time out today. Enjoy your family, and thank you again.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Appreciate
I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.